Just a stone's throw from one of Sydney's most popular and busiest cafe and restaurant strips, and slap bang under the International Airport flight path, there is a secret and very productive and luscious garden. And it's here in her inner city backyard that Michelle Margolis grows her own Arabica coffee beans, along with many other fruit and veggie varieties. So what type of plants do you grow in here?
50 fruit trees, as well as luxury crops like coffee, turmeric, ginger, garlic.
Now, coffee, it's something you don't see in many people's gardens, especially in Sydney. What inspired you to grow coffee?
My Brazilian neighbour down the road brought a little coffee tree back from Brazil, which is now a magnificent tree. When it was covered in red cherries, I asked him, "What do you want to do with this coffee, Roberto?" He said, "Oh, it's a nuisance. I have to sweep it up." So I asked if I could harvest it, and that was my first harvest.
Wow. So how many coffee plants do you have now?
I have 4 trees which started fruiting when they were 4 years old. They crop several times a year, so we've probably had about 9 crops. When they were 4, we had 40 kilos.
Can we see them?
Yes.
Wonderful. So this is very exciting. These are the coffee plants. So what type of coffee are these?
These are Arabica.
And how old are these trees?
These are about 7 years old.
So what sort of growing conditions do they need?
They don't get very much sun. They're in quite a shady environment, but surprisingly, they're really, really happy. And so they act as a beautiful screen plant between us and our neighbours, and they seem to thrive in semi-shade. Well, these coffee trees are probably the most neglected trees on the property. I don't water them, so they're doing very well on Sydney rainfall.
So when did these trees start fruiting?
They started fruiting when they were 4 years old, and in that year they produced 40 kilos of coffee cherries, which was pretty amazing, and that ended up as 6 kilos of beans.
So do you have any coffee that you've harvested from these beans?
Yes, I do. Would you like to try some?
I would love to try some.
Let's go.
Okay. I'm so excited, Michelle. This is a cup of coffee that you've produced by hand from your coffee trees. I've got to try. And it's delicious. It's so clean and pure. Tell me, how much love and effort has gone into this cup of coffee?
Well, it takes about 3 weeks of processing after harvest, which we generally do as a community effort. For one person, it would probably be more like 8 weeks. So the cherries are pipped, fermented, dried in the sun, and then the papery husks have to be removed, which I now do in a food processor in cup by cup. It's quite slow. Winnow the chaff, and then the beans are ready for roasting.
Well, thank you, Michelle. It's been absolutely wonderful being in this garden here with you today, and thank you for the coffee. It's very special. I'm very grateful to be having a cup, and I really appreciate your time.
Well, thank you for coming, and it's been fun watching you drink that.
Thank you. Cheers.
Cheers.
An Arabica coffee plant is an attractive little plant with green glossy leaves and a compact growth habit, which means it's perfect for balconies. I bought this plant from Daly's Fruit Trees online and they delivered it straight to my door. And now it's time to plant it. Fill the bottom of the pot with good quality potting mix. Make sure that the top of the plant will sit just below the rim of the pot. Then backfill with potting mix. Water in well and wait for the coffee beans to start sprouting. Remember, in their native habitat, Arabica coffee plants grow into medium-sized trees, so they are pruned regularly to keep them at a measurable size. So you will need to prune yours regularly if you want to keep them nice and small.